Buildings shook briefly in Taipei on Monday as a 6-magnitude earthquake struck off Taiwan's eastern coast, but there were no immediate reports of damage. The quake had a depth of 17 miles with its epicenter off Taiwan's east coast, roughly halfway between the coast of Hualien County and the southern Japanese island of Yonaguni, the Weather Bureau said. The quake could be felt across Taiwan, it added. Heavy rains with huge hail were recorded this Saturday afternoon and night in and around Mexico City. The mayor's office most affected by the rain was in Mexico City, in Ascapozalco, where flooding was reported in many places. According to the mayor, more than 8 trees and many branches fell to the ground, work on which was coordinated with various authorities and the emergency department. Heavy rain and hail caused damage to the Naucalpan-Ecatepec highway. Meanwhile, layers of ice, water, debris and fallen leaves made it difficult to travel on important roads. The storm, which began at 7 p.m. in Tlalnepantla, caused an accumulation of stormwater and hail currents coming down as rivers in the lower Sierra de Guadalupe colonies. In the video we see a demonstration of the magnitude of the situation in Ascapozalco tonight. In Mercedes, El Rosario district, a groundwater level of 60 meters by 40 centimeters was recorded, creating a load on the roads in the area. Large-scale fires engulfed Russia's Krasnoyarsk region. More than 1,000 people were affected by the large-scale fires in Krasnoyarsk region last weekend. According to various estimates, from 5 to 7 people were killed and 12 more were hospitalized. As many as 518 houses were burnt in 18 municipal districts of the region. The worst situation in the town of Uyar, where over 200 houses burned out almost completely. Regional authorities cited wire breakage and electrical short circuits caused by a hurricane-force wind gusting up to 40 meters per second. Now the fire situation in the region has stabilized, but the emergency regime is still in force. Over the last day in the region 220 fires were extinguished. Last weekend a large-scale fire captivated Krasnoyarsk region. On Saturday, May 7, the fire quickly spread to 16 settlements because of a storm wind. In the middle of the day, the emergency ministry reported several sawmills burning near the village of Industrialny, as well as a kindergarten in the village of Bolshaya Murta, several houses and summer cottages. In total over 200 buildings in different areas were on fire. For several days, the south of Brazil was at the mercy of the elements. The epicenter of the weather was the state of Santa Catarina, where heavy rains caused floods and landslides. In some parts of the state for 72 hours prior to May 5, 2022, more than 300 millimeters of rain fell. According to the state's civil defense, San Martinu recorded 375 millimeters during this period, and Anatopolis 338 millimeters. Such values exceed 5 monthly precipitation norms. Tens of thousands of people were displaced from their homes and there were victims. According to the Brazilian Geological Survey, river levels have exceeded the danger mark in several places in the state, including Canoas in Vila Canoas and Uruguay in Itapiranga. According to state authorities, in the last few days more than 100 municipalities reported incidents of heavy rains, floods, landslides, falling trees and building collapses. Several municipalities have imposed a state of emergency. Flood warnings are also in effect in areas of the neighboring state of Rio Grande do Sul, where, according to civil defense reports, water levels in the Uruguay and Taquari rivers are approaching dangerous levels. Flood emergency declared in some regions of the USA. Farmer killed after being washed away by flood waters. The governor of the state of West Virginia, USA, declared the state of emergency in 3 counties, affected by heavy rains and floods. The National Weather Service in Charleston reported that more than 88 millimeters of rain fell in Ona in Cabell County. Communities in the city of Huntington, Cabell County were particularly hard hit. The town's mayor reported severe damage to public and private property, as well as utility service disruptions. Severe flooding was also reported in Spencer in Roane County, where homes were damaged. According to the National Weather Service, further north, water levels along the Potomac River in Maryland have risen and are in minor to moderate flood stage in some areas. In Pennsylvania, heavy rain reportedly caused a landslide in the Spring Garden area of Pittsburgh. The landslide collapsed at the gas station below, causing concern among emergency responders. "22 people were killed and 40 injured as severe flash floods hit parts of Afghanistan. Torrential rains caused floods and landslides in 12 provinces, killing 22 people and injuring 40, according to the head of Afghanistan's National Disaster Management Authority Communications and Information Office. 500 homes were destroyed, 2,000 damaged, 300 livestock killed and about 1,200 hectares of crops damaged. The western provinces of Bajhiz and Faryab and the northern province of Baghlan were most affected. The wildfire currently raging in New Mexico is the largest in the United States and threatens highland settlements in the Sangre de Cristo Mountains, home to historic sites from European and Mexican settler and Native American cultures. Flames have burned innumerable homes in the Mora Valley, and strong winds on Sunday threatened earthen ranches, churches, chapels and watermills built back in the early 19th century. Families of some residents had lived in the area since the late 17th century. More than half of the county's 4,000 residents refused to evacuate and stayed to defend their homes from the fire. They are using all possible means to fight the fire. According to local community members, all those who evacuated feel devastated. "Our ancestors have lived in these houses for 300 years, it makes it difficult, even impossible, to relocate to a safe place." Local residents respond to calls by authorities to evacuate. On Sunday, more than 1,600 firefighters battled 2 large fires northeast of Santa Fe, New Mexico. Together, they held back the spread of the fire over 710 square kilometers. A new species of poisonous jellyfish has been found on a beach in Sydney, Australia. Specialists in marine biology said that the new species of dweller of the sea depths needs to be studied carefully, because the animal found in Sydney may be previously unknown to science. According to scientists, the animal probably belongs to the same class as the deadly venomous sea wasp and irukandji. This is evidenced by the fact that the tentacles of the discovered species are flat and long, which is characteristic of poisonous jellyfish species. According to the Australian Jellyfish Migration Advisory Service, the last death from sea wasp venom was recorded on the continent on March 4, 2021. Since observations began in 1883, contact with the Cubo medusa has caused 80 deaths. Cubo medusa burns cause excruciating pain, and the venom contained in one jellyfish's tentacles is enough to kill 60 people in 3 minutes. The sea wasp is considered the most poisonous and the most dangerous jellyfish in the world.